is a clay, pure as pristine as a blue sky with sunlight or sun shining. But then, due to the misunderstanding and the misperception of the duality, as dark clouds arise, cloud of obscurations arise in the sky, and it completely blurred up as it grows, deepening. The growth and the deepening of the is blurred the origin and nature of the sky and the sunlight, completely blurred. And then that not just a blurred, but at the same time, then we created the three principal habit patterns. And those are then many times in the teaching mentioned, and you also heard, I heard too. And those three habit patterns, again, I repeated that. And the habit pattern of the land, or sometimes I translated habit pattern of the object, habit pattern of the subject, and habit pattern of the poems. Poems, those islands. Or in Tibet, it's called Ne Dong Lu. I think that's the right teaching said. I'm sure whenever you know that. Ne Dong Lu something. Bakcha. Then it created. And then this I translating kind of like habit pattern of the object. Object is the whole universe, world. All these 3,000 portable universes, and as well as 4 continents, and the stars, the moons, and everything that we created by that. That is all came from the mind. And together with that object, also we created 5 objects of the senses. 5 objects of the senses. And that 5 objects of the senses are form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. Touch, I think touch of feelings. Feelings. And those all. And what are they? Each of those forms, everything is so extensive. Form means all the forms. Big and small, and subtle, whatever it is, all the forms. Forms in the teaching, but the teaching always mention there's the forms can be divided, many forms. All the different forms is a tangible object. Object, big and small. That all is forms. And then form, sound. Object of sound. Again, variety of the sounds. Not just the one sound. All the different sounds. That is. Or like, for example, poems. Maybe if I talk a little bit, what in the teaching mentioned, a poem is like causal poems, result poems. Causal poem, Form. That's what I'm talking. Poem. Causal forms are, according to Buddhism, them earth, fire, wind, and earth, water. Those are the causal forms. And then result forms, and as well as these are 5 organs. 5 organs, and as well as then 5 objects of the senses. Sound, form, sound, smell, taste, touches, those things. And then there is extra forms. They call invisible forms. Invisible existing forms. And that is kind of connected with the, such as conception level, but it is also very important for the people. That it comes with the existing individual forms of our own bodies, and with that, then added that with conceptions, such as what is that? For example, our titles. We say the title is not really the existing forms, but yet when people got a title, then they kind of beliefs.
they have something. And at the same time, others also will kind of think, oh, he or she is that she is that, kind of hold up that. And then as well as vows of the monks and the nuns, all the samayas, we hold something. It's a conception level, but it's people kind of, when you have that, you think, I am that, I have that. So it's called the invisible poems. Those all are resolved poems. Then variety of that. Then within that, all that, and yes, there are poems that are related with the colors, all these color poems. So many really teachings said. That is, of course, you all know that. Just and that's it. So then this, what's called his name? Then that's the 5 organs of the senses. The eye organs, ear organs, nose organs, tongue organs, body organs. Those are the organs. And then, the other thing, poem. That is, this time poem is not just an old poem, but we mentioned that. This time poem is only personalized to the eye, sense of eye, what you see. I see, that is the poem. And that is kind of very personal, private in a way. What I see, our eye detected can be not detected by the ear organs or ear senses. It's all kind. The poem, that poem, visual poem, is completely personalized to the eye, and the sound that what we hear is personalized to the ear, and then nose, smell, taste, and touch. All that, those are known as, all that is poem, but with the different categories. So that those are really about the poem habit patterns. Or I translated like object habit patterns. And then subject habit pattern is then at consciousness. And at consciousness, and together with the good and bad karmas, or neutral karmas. So it is called at consciousness. At consciousness is started with the called alaya consciousness. Alaya consciousness, emotion consciousness, mind consciousness, and then consciousness of the eye consciousness, air consciousness, tongue consciousness, body, nose consciousness, and body consciousness. All together is at. And among that, first five are related with our organs, our senses, is again operating only on the present status. Everything of the past, the present, the future. So when we are operating by the 5 senses, is all connected most of the time in the present status. Our senses. And of course, the enlightened beings, Buddha's senses is different. It's out of our kind of category, their boundaries. But our senses, 5 senses, is is connected to the present. So the 5 senses, present. But 5 senses are present, it brings the information, whatever that. Eye, seeing, ear, hearing, nose, smelling, and then tongue, tasting, body, touch. When that happens, brings it back, and then final one, is checked by the mind consciousness. Mind consciousness checks about the form, sound, smell, taste, and touch. What is it checks? If it's good, if it's bad,
is neutral, and then you will that. So I bring them in a way a message, then the sixth consciousness will make the decisions. Decisions and analyzing, discriminating. When the sixth consciousness is discriminating, then emotion consciousness is involved. Then emotion consciousness is emotions what? Again, that 5 portions. Then if it's the mind says it's good, then you attach it some degree. And mind says it's not good, and then you get angry, or you kind of feel rejected. Then dullness, we don't know exactly what things happening. Even mind itself, doing the best jobs, but not exactly know. So then ignorance. And then jealousness. And arrogance. If it's something kind of feels, oh, spirit, nice, that feeds my emotions nicely, I'm good, or I'm spirit, kind of like a sense of the pride. Pride means what? Again, pride means you feel to stop ourselves, and then you start seeing others are kind of a little lower or pushed down. And not performing that kind of activity or having some little bit disturbance, or even mind detecting this is going to make some troubles, or maybe not, complete hallucination, and that is then jealousness. Jealous is twisted. That. So it's all emotion created by the mind and message from the 5 senses, and created by the divided by the mind, and then emotion involved, and then that is, according to teaching, then all that activities registered in the alayas, also printed. So those are really about that. It's all that's really about the habit pattern of the subject. Or in the teaching said Dorje, habit pattern of the usages. And with that, then created more about all the karmas. Karma, as I said, this emotional mind, when divided, and then all the karmas. Karmas, everything, good karma, bad karma, neutral karma, is all created by the mind. It's based on the kind of in the space of the mind or the alliance. That is again example by teaching of the great Maitreya, future Buddha Maitreya. His teaching is known as Jut Lama, or the Uttara Tantra is not considered as like Tantra, but it is explaining about the Tathagarbha teaching of the Buddha nature so clearly, strongly, in so many ways exemplary that we all inherit this nature. So this text is very famous. And also in the teaching said this Jut Lama is the essence of teachings of the Buddha's third teachings, third training developed teachings. Buddha gave the 3 teachings. First training, 3 seminary teachings, not just 3 teachings. The Buddha gave from age 35 onward all the way to age 80, give Buddha's teachings. So many, all the teachings, but those are big majority, according to Mahayana, divided into 3 categories. The first training available Dharma, second training available Dharma, and third training available Dharma. So those are the three training teachings. And fourth teaching is Buddha gave what is the principal meaning of the fourth teaching. Is the cause and the condition, and it is the effect. And that is really the mainly teaching. Cause and the conditions, and interdependent connections, or interlinked connections. Those are the mainly principal teachings of the first training available Dharma. Second training available Dharma is teachings on all that karma all that cause and condition, everything is emptiness nature. Emptiness, everything is emptiness. That means there is no substantially solid, the permanent entities, the most gross level, subtle level, according to the teaching. All is kind of empty or the empty of the nature, essence nature. And then many of you know that. That is a big topic in Buddhism. Buddhism is, so many of you know, is all empty. That is emphasizing Panchaparamata teachings. Teachings, when you have that realization, or teaching is called Panchaparamata, when you have that realization, is supreme wisdoms that will surely cross the river of samsara. Those are the teaching mentioned. So that's why called Panchaparamata. In Sanskrit, in the Tibet, it's called Shirapche Parodasamba. Is Shirap. Shirap means, in the Tibetan word, supreme wisdom, not just a wisdom, supreme wisdom. And that well, Parodasamba, it will lead you to the other shore. What that other shore? The commonly we call samsara, but other shore of the duality. Other shore of the duality. That means that by realizing that nature, it will the smash, transcendent duality, it is own state, without any trace, without any leftover. That is the Panchaparamatas teachings. And that is nature of the mind. Nature of the mind is called emptiness. That we kind of know a little bit by meditating and practicing, analyze, follow the teachings of the Dzogchen, all that. Mind is empty. And for that reason, some teachers, said, no mind. No mind is the nature of the mind. So it's true. It's not just the making up the story and trying to kind of like, blaming or the covering up things, or saying that no mind. It's true. That is not relative level. Relative level, we have mind. We're talking, we're listening, we all this. And relative level, we have mind. Buddha explained all the details of the mind. All categories of the mind. Really, so much that. So relative level, we have mind. But absolute, the really existing mind, is there something that, as we see on the relative level, no. That's what's called no mind. That. And then, in the third training wheel of Dharma, mainly explained by Buddha, or to emphasize the teaching on that no mind is just not no mind, it's full of the richness. Mind is so rich that all the treasures, all the luxuries of the samsara, nirvanas are emerged from this no mind or the emptiness mind. It's full of the richness, brilliant, clear, luminosity. And that's what the gracious teacher Buddha mentioned, everything. And that is, so this Uttara Tantra is really explaining of this clarity, the richness of the teaching. In many teachings, the gracious teacher Buddha mentioned Buddha nature, or like kind of seed, the potential existing, mentioned. But in the Uttara Tantra, in all the Vajra teachings, said, we are already Buddha. So it's not something that just we have the cause to become the Buddha. We are Buddha. We are all enlightened. And why then we are not enlightened? That is then, by Great Master Longchenpa said, we are completely covered by due to the mistakes and of the duality conceptions, like clothes of this mist is completely covered up. Covered up our Buddha nature of enlightenment. Enlightenment is completely covered up that. Who did? We did, ourselves.
And now, what do we do? When we practice and meditate, we clearing away those old duality cloudedness. As we grow, we develop. Then is called what the great master Maitreya said. And he said, in that teaching, as a great master of future Buddha, Maitreya used the example. This Buddha, our enlightenment is how it is. There's 3 occasions. The impurity or heavily obscured occasions, semi-obscure occasions, semi-obscure occasions, completely clear, pure clear occasions. What are those occasions? Who are there? Who they are? We sentient beings are heavily obscured occasions. We are now heavily obscured occasions. All the midst of the emotions, duality consumption, and we are adding more and more. So we are heavily obscured occasion. Even our Buddha nature is brilliantly shining, or Buddha is shining, or enlightenment is shining, but darkness, heaviness cannot penetrate. It's heavy, dark, and cold. Even the heaviest times, still enlightenment is guiding us and supporting us, ushering us, giving us hopes. Hopes, what is those? Our love, our compassion, our joy and appreciations, our devotions. We, in midst of those heavy, obscured, self-cherished, self-important mind, those divine qualities are arising. That is the light of the Buddha, which is in our heart, according to teaching. Then, when it's a little bit more kind of like semi-obscured or semi-clear, what is that occasion is called? Bodhisattvas. From first bhumi all the way to the 10th bhumis, or beginning of the past path, it started to kind of clearing away those, such as the accumulation part, application part, clean. So bodhisattvas are the semi-cleared away beings. The completely, utterly cleared away everything, completely. That is Buddha status. When you reach enlightenment or become the Buddha, that moment, brilliant now shining the sunlight of the Buddha nature, freely, without any hindrance. What are those lights? Then in the teaching mentioned, wisdom, compassion, loving kindness. Or that they're kind of extended that, then 5 wisdoms. 5 wisdoms. And then all the kayas, all the wisdom, enlightenment. That. And when we reach that state, and this wisdom and the compassion and the loving kindness has no territories. It's pervasive to every directions. And it's pervasive to the 3 times. And how they perceive that was by compassion and all that wisdom, in the teaching said, and spontaneously, without any deviations of the knowledges of the past, knowledge of the past, seeing past, knowledge of the seeing future, knowledge of the seeing now,